Carolina Panthers have 72 hours to see if expectations and reality are truly in alignment. They've had practice today already. They will practice one more time tomorrow, get out ahead of the storm, so to speak. It just so happens they're playing on the road, so it will not be a deluge in Charlotte. They'll be playing in Boston against New England, which could mean the debut of Drake May. For those of you Carolina fans, you'll get a chance to check in on Drake May, see how he's doing under a brand new head coach and a new system. But really, it's about the Carolina Panthers, and to see if the expectations that the fan base has, that we all have when we talk about the Panthers, truly line up with the reality of what Dave Canales has been trying to do there. Now, he already spoke today ahead of practice. He says tomorrow night they will decide who will play on Thursday. There might be a chance that Bryce Young takes a few snaps under center. There might be some starting action, but they may not play a lot. He's worried about chemistry and player safety. A lot of that has to do with the fact that they're very thin at outside linebacker, which apparently is a need position for him and has been flagged by many analysts for the Carolina Panthers as a place that they need to figure something out, because Jadeveon Clowney, while he settles in on the left-hand side, the right-hand side is the giant question mark that is spray painted in red. There is no doubt about that. And the Panthers had to sign a new quarterback. Remember, you heard Andy Dalton had a quad injury, suffered earlier in the week. So they went out and signed Jake Luton. Jake Luton, formerly of the Oregon State University Beavers.
That guy.
I don't know what it is about Oregon State and quarterbacks with Carolina, but apparently the Derek Anderson did pretty well. So Jake Luton is back, who was on the active roster for one game last season, backed up Andy Dalton, and was drafted by Jacksonville back in 2020.
Well, as someone who watches a lot of Oregon Ducks football, since you are a proud Ducks alum, can you tell us anything about this? Nope.
He went to Oregon State.
That's all you know.
It's
no action in the Civil War rivalry? Nothing?
Not that I can remember.
All right, fair enough.
Not that I can remember about Jake Luton.
So basically, I could have gotten signed to play for the Carolina Panthers if need be in the first preseason game.
It's not even his offense. They signed him today because, again,
they just need bodies.
We just talked about outside linebacker, right? They're still looking for guys. Kimoko Ture went on the reserved injured list so they could bring on a quarterback. Jake doesn't know the playbook. He'll get studied up real quick, and he knows some of the personnel at least. And I'm sure Andy Dalton could fill him in on a few things. But this is about making sure that Jack Plummer doesn't have to throw every ball in that game on Thursday night. They've already seen what they can get out of him. He's not the priority. It's for him to get reps. But if Jack Plummer's getting all your 1 reps right now, or getting a lot more 1 reps, and he's going to be throwing to the 1s and 2s, that's going to say a lot more about where they feel they need to protect Bryce Young, because they're not sure what it's going to happen to Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But Canales said it was a bounce-back day after practice yesterday. And here's what Dave Canales talked about when he spoke to the media on Sunday about what he wants to see in that first preseason game on Thursday in New England.
Canales has gone quiet.
He'll speak. I promise you.
Now he's ready to speak.
Okay.
Great effort. Great enthusiasm. I hope the guys that are all cheering each other on, even especially when they're not on. Great toughness. I want to see big hits. I want to see physical blocks. I want to see the running backs finish it with aggression and the tight ends. I want to see great, smart plays in situations, making great decisions in third down situations, end of half 2 minutes, end of game 2 minutes, those types of things. And above all, I want to see us finish the fourth quarter like we started the game, with that intensity, with all those things. That's what I'm looking for. So it's kind of the formula for what we're trying to do here, and I want to see it come to life in a game setting.
Paul Ihander in here for Adam Gold. So that being said, for Dave Canales, will the expectations meet the reality of what he is hoping for? Because in the preseason, it can be a challenge. There's no doubt about it. It's a small body of work for what they're trying to implement. And you can see with Canales how he's trying to get his team really dialed in a little bit. Dave is still coming with the energy. He's still coming with that forward positive momentum, but you're hearing a lot more of the coaching out of him, which is positive for Dave Canales. You're hearing a lot more of the things that we need to work on, that they need to get dialed in on and execute better. For them to go hard for all 60 minutes of that game on Thursday night against the New England Patriots with as many players that have to get shuttled in and shuttled out because this is the only time they really get to evaluate guys. It's easy to see them in practice. You all know this. But when it comes to game time reality, that's where you're really going to check in on the guys who are going to make an impact and the positions that you're really comfortable with adding. Because you're not talking about determining whether or not Robert Hunt should start at guard. You're not determining whether Jadeveon Clowney should start at outside linebacker. You're trying to figure out who those guys' backups might be or who can play a role also on special teams in this new kickoff world that we live in. Those are the kinds of decisions that have to be made. So if he's talking about intensity from first quarter to fourth quarter, absolutely. But I would say control the mistakes and play within yourselves and just accept what you can accept about this team in a game one. Because the expectations of the fan base, like we're going to chuck it down the field and run it down their throats. Granted, that is a fair, optimistic view. But to ground yourself in reality a little bit, how about we just don't make any mistakes and come out healthy?
Clean football, protect the football, defense get off the field in third and manageable situations, and really just go out there. And for a lot of guys, as you mentioned, it's their last chance to kind of prove themselves before cuts are made so then they can get a roster spot for this upcoming season. But, yeah, don't overthink it. It's preseason football. It feels like he's asking to do a complete 180 of what we saw in a lot of regular season games last year for the Panthers, but I'm just fine. I'm glad that we're not getting the whole Reich approach of we're not going to reveal too much of what we're doing. So I'll take that from Dave Canales and his football TED Talks.
Yeah, I'm not big about simplicity. Show me what you got. Show me a little bit of what you got. Now, Dave Canales was asked a very, very solid question and gave a very, very Canales-esque response, which I respect. Do not get me wrong. This is what I would consider 99.9% of what I think you would want to hear from a football coach when he was asked about during practices what's holding back throws from the quarterbacks deep chances.
Yeah, I think it's number one, our scheme defensively is fantastic, so it's really hard. This scheme right here really maximizes the disguise. They do so many good things that make it hard for you to kind of know when you're going to be able to get that shot down the field. And so it's just a matter of, for our quarterbacks, especially studying our guys, to say, this is a look when this shot would be good, And I think, generally speaking, as far as training camps go, like our deep ball production kind of increases the further into camp we get. And it really does show up more in games. When you're out here in a practice setting, a lot of the times the defense and secondary play a little bit more conservative. In games, they're more liable to take a shot on a guy or try to cover something where you can set up some of those shots. But and it's definitely something we just have to, bottom line, just improve on and get opportunities on. So I'd love to see more production down the field, yes, but it's been really difficult against our defense right now.
Exactly, I believe, what you would want to hear from a head coach. Our defense is really great, so it's tough for us to make it happen. We work in smaller situations in terms of practice and on the field. So guys are playing more conservative. They're trying to make each other look good. And then when it comes to game situations, I want to see more of it. I demand more shots. You go out and sign Deontay Johnson for a reason. You draft Zay Leggett for a reason. And by the way, Zay Leggett, who got hurt on Sunday, he has no fractures in his foot. He is not going to play, at least not expected to play on Thursday. But the response that Dave Canales gave to that question was nearly ideal. He understands the game at this point. He's not speaking in generalities. He's speaking in things that he considers that are truth and stuff that he sees on the field right away. And that you have to respect. It is a far cry from when you just see coaches just going out there and just rallying the guys going, yeah, we got some stuff we need to improve on, and yeah, we probably need to throw the ball a little bit more. That felt like someone who analyzed the game as an offensive coordinator, and maybe as he grows as a head coach, it might get a little bit more general, but there's no doubt that you probably just learned something in the last 60 seconds.
Well, it sounds like somebody that coached under Pete Carroll for a long time with the Seattle Seahawks and got to see that offense kind of implemented with Russell Wilson as a quarterback, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, some of those guys, Rashad Penny as well as at running back. And it just lets me know that when Dave Canales says he wants the Panthers' identity this year to be through the run game, it lets me know that, on their side of the 50, when they're trekking upfield. It's going to be a lot of handoffs. It's going to be a lot of jet sweeps. And then once you get in positive yardage, if it's second and manageable, I want to see a shot taken downfield to Deontay Johnson, to Xavier Legette, to Adam Thielen, since he has, since he can kind of sneak around the field a little bit. It just lets me know that we're going to see some high-flying action at Bank of America Stadium this season, hopefully, if the run game can allow itself to open up.
Boy, the one thing about a run game opening up a deep ball, and that they all go hand in hand, right? There's no doubt about it. That goes hand in hand. Wouldn't it be great to see on a stat sheet an 82-yard touchdown throw or a 58-yard touchdown run? That would be the sweetest.